How does Spidey deal with a big threat? He brings in big tires. Here's your look at the LEGO Spider-Man set 76174, Spider-Man's monster truck versus Mysterio. The set is 439 pieces, and not only do you get Spider-Man's monster truck, but 4 minifigures as well: Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, Mysterio, and Dr. Octopus. I had picked this set up the same time as the previously looked at Spider-Man vs. Sandman Showdown, but the set that had me most curious was this one by far. Not only do you get yourself a drone, you get 2 of them, but you also get Mysterio too. And you know my feelings when it comes to Mysterio. Quickly looking at the box before, of course, we get down to the build itself, it is recommended for ages 8 and up. You can see at the top there, you've got the Spider-Man big giant Spidey minifigure. I'd love to see if they could actually make a large version of him. Of course, you've got Mysterio there, Spider-Gwen, and a Dr. Octopus down below. There's your 4 minifigures. And, of course, on the back of the box, you can sort of see how Spider-Man could be quite easily defeating the criminals, as you can see by his big giant monster truck. As I said, the monster truck isn't the most exciting aspect of it for me. It's the fact that you get the minifigures that you do. Doc Ock with a very elaborate arm construction, and of course that Mysterio, not to mention Spider-Gwen. Like I said, it was definitely a set I wanted to pick up. That being said, that's the packaging. What I'm going to do is put the set together, and we'll get a closer look at Spider-Man's monster truck versus Mysterio. Before you get down to building the set, some necessary reading may be required on your part. LEGO includes, of course, the instruction booklet, 71 pages, and several more steps on top of that to get from start to finish until you finally build yourself the monster truck. The majority of the instructions are actually dedicated, as you probably could guess it, to the monster truck itself. Some involved steps that are required, but then the end result is you've got yourself a finished monster truck. There is also for your consideration down below that QR code. So if you do have the LEGO app already installed onto your phone, you can scan that QR code and go the route of the online version of the instructions rather than using the instruction booklet. There must be some way, I'm guessing, to retain each one of the instructions in that app. I can't imagine it's just a one and we're done. They must store that some way. I'm really going to have to install this app and try it out for myself. Because, of course, if you ever do lose the instruction booklet, that app would be coming quite rather handy. Especially if you happen to break the vehicle, if maybe small childlike hands decides that they want to play with daddy's monster truck and ends up breaking it, then of course I've got the instructions. I can go back and put it back together. That being said, let's have a look at the minifigures starting first, and then we'll look at Spidey's monster truck, which is actually really a cool vehicle. Starting first, let's have a look at Spider-Man. Up close and personal, as you can see, it's him in his traditional blue and red colors. Now, not too long ago, of course, we had the Spider-Man and Sandman Showdown Spidey, which, as you can see, they seem to be identical to one another. On the back, also the exact same. You never can really have enough Spideys. Sometimes I do like to mix and match these. Take the heads off, for example. Find a suitable enough looking head that could look like a Peter Parker. And some of my LEGO minifigures of Spider-Man I've actually got displayed as Peter Parker. But just to bring the arm down here so you can see. Yeah, they're pretty much identical to one another. I know it's always seems so redundant for me to do this, but again, the articulation on all these minifigures, just in case, I'm sure somebody out there that's never picked up a minifigure and never seen one in person, but the articulation on these, the head swivels, arms back and forth, the hands, and the legs. You're also new to this channel. You know my feelings and my stance when it comes to minifigures' hands. I never like having them this way. I always like to twist my minifigures so that they're vertical. Which way do you like to display your minifigures' hands? I know it's a rather strange question, but let me know down below in the comment section. So there's Spider-Man. Next, we'll have a look at Spider-Gwen, leaving my favorites for the last. Spider-Gwen, of course, making use of the same LEGO minifigure body. She does have her hood on. You technically could remove the hood if you want to have her unhooded. There really isn't an option to display her with the hood down below. I wish they could have actually given you like a flat piece of that hood that you could display along the back of the figure. Also, speaking of back, you can see that there's no back printing on the back of her head. Feel a missed opportunity there. I think they could have easily just printed something on the back of it. But she's got some good coloring, nice and bright. Got the little webbing there on the shoulders and some nice pink outlining around her eyes. She technically also comes included with a skateboard. At least based on the instructions and based on the box, she seems to be one that comes included with the skateboard. You can either put her on it and you can have her rolling around, or you can also take the skateboard and you can fit it into her hand like this. Probably going to be the way I'm going to display the minifigure of Gwen. Spider-Gwen. Okay, so let's get to the more interesting and elaborate characters. The real reason, again, why I want to pick up this set. Starting first with Doc Ock. Doc Ock certainly starts as a minifigure, but he gets so much more elaborate. All the stuff that you actually have to attach to the figure. If you look at the back, this is basically just a regular... Well, we've seen these pieces before. Maybe not necessarily with this many clips to it, but it's just a piece that goes over top, and then his head goes on top of that. Then from there, you've got a couple of little hinged areas, where then you have to construct each of the individual arms. It may not probably seem like there's a lot involved here, but let me just tell you, I spent at least 15-20 minutes of just actually putting together Doc Ock. Each one of the arms are articulated. Kind of disappointed that they're not articulated in all the places, so he only really has a hinge here. But then he has a ball joint in the mid-knuckle area, or I guess in the elbowed area of his arm. And then he's got a secondary ball joint at the very end. Each one of the fingers, if you want to consider them claws, I suppose, can open and close. Like that. And then on the inside, each one of them also have, kind of looks like a laser, some sort of laser orb. I'm sure it's probably there to zap and fire at Spider-Man. There was some sticker applications that were also required. I had to put stickers, well, basically here. All these 4 places right here all required stickers. But like I said, it's a really neat, it is very, very cool looking Doc Ock. He takes up a lot of space. They probably could have even shrunk these arms down and made them not as elaborate, but if you certainly do like your Doc Ock with a lot going on, you technically even could bring these arms down. It may require, I guess, some additional stability, but you could almost have him looking like he's standing on his arms. The only place that he doesn't have articulation is like right here. But let's just see if I can get him to stand on those arms. Very easy. Very easy, in fact. I'm surprised I didn't try it already. As for the minifigure of Doc Ock, up close and personal, you can see the nice printing there on the front. Nice dark coloring here. Go ahead and take off his hairpiece. And on the back, you can see, you can either go with the more disgruntled looking Doc Ock, or the flat out, straight out, crazy Doc Ock, which I prefer this one of the two. Go ahead and put his hairpiece on there. That hairpiece I would best describe as Al Bundy. That's very much an Al Bundy hairstyle. But let's go ahead and put Doc Ock down, balancing him off his legs. That's definitely going to be the way I'm going to display the figure. And then by far, my favorite of the minifigures in this set was Mysterio. Mysterio has a very similar thing that Sandman had. In fact, just reaching off, I've just thought of this at the last minute here. Let's bring in Sandman. This is the Sandman that we looked at from the Spider-Man Sandman Showdown. They sort of have one thing in common. Being pretty cool design characters, okay, that's another one, is that the lower half is like a constructed Lego piece. Now, at least Mysterio benefits from the fact that he still has legs. Sandman doesn't. This whole piece, this whole minifigure can just detach. And he's got this really rather complex looking construct. You can see on both sides. If they haven't already used this, I'm sure they could easily pass this off as something for Poison Ivy as well, because that kind of has a rooted vine look to it almost, doesn't it? I feel it. I feel it does. It's made of translucent green plastic. You can see only some of my hands passing behind it. And then there's a lighter color green over top of it. I definitely feel like that could be used for Poison Ivy at some point. Then, of course, you've got Mysterio, the figure itself. Let's just get his body together. He does have the softer cape. It's not plastic now, it's fabric. I'm glad that they're using fabric on these capes now. He does have these little flick-firing pieces. They're basically just, again, like illusion spells that he has on the ends of his hands. Basically, you just flick these out. They never really flick well enough, and they end up just falling onto the floor, and I end up losing them. But they're made of a translucent green plastic. Again, a closer look at his dome head. It's interesting the way that they've designed the dome head. It's actually consisting of 2 pieces. Just a rather simple, basic gray head underneath it. And then you've got the fishbowl that goes over top of it. And it has a real nice glitter effect to it. as it certainly goes for a classic-looking Mysterio. I really don't think you could get a better minifigure than this. The Doc Ock is impressive and cool because he does have all the extra arms, but by far my favorite minifigure of this set has to go to Mysterio. He's just absolutely awesome. Aside from the builds, you actually get a bunch of other things here as well. Like, for example, you get yourself a little bag of money. I don't think it's a brown paper bag of lunch that Doc Ock is wanting to carry around with him. Speaking of carrying around, actually, you can take... We'll just grab the Doc Ock minifigure here, and we can clamp that into his hand. The way that they've designed the handle, the top of the bag here, you just clamp it onto his hand like that. It's a bit strange. You sort of have to have him literally looking like he's carrying around like his lunch, because then, if not, you'll see the bottom of it hollow and open like this. The figures also come included with a couple of diamonds. Let's pick those up and try not to lose them. There we go. Comes with two different, well, not two different, the same molded diamonds. You just get two of them. And those could fit into their hands. They also come with $100 bills. I'm assuming, I would hope that they're not looting the place for only just $200. That seems like it's a bit of a waste of money. Of course, mind you, they have the diamonds. And they also have a couple other things here as well. Just pick this up here. They got a couple of gold bricks. Gold bricks. As you can see, it says Lego down below. So I guess if you count, if I'm, I don't know what the going value is right now on diamonds, but imagine just the diamonds alone would probably be worth the reasoning why they're having now to contend with Spider-Man. If they're just doing it for $200, I think they really have to reevaluate their lives. The figures also come included, and it's more so directed towards Spider-Gwen and Spider-Man. They come with different web constructs. Now, these could actually fit in their hands differently here. A couple of different ways that you can display them. If you want, you can fit this into Spider-Man's hand. It's kind of funny the way that they've designed this. Like that. And it kind of looks like Spider-Man's got like a little tiny web umbrella. Silly Spider-Man, there's no way that that's going to protect you against the rain. They come with different sizes. And they're all made of translucent, kind of smoky white plastic. And then there's also means to assemble these. It does really involve having to take this specific piece right here up close and personal so you can see right there. The idea, go ahead and take the Spider-Man, this just fits into his hand. Now where I feel like this isn't the most successful thing pulled off is that the coloring of the plastic changes so much. It starts clear in the end, then you have to add a white piece, then you add the more smokier colored white plastic, then it goes white again, then it goes that smoky color. I wish that the coloring of the plastic was the same across, and it looked all the same. Again, if you want to, you don't have to put them together the way that the instructions, this is the way that the instructions tell you to put all those pieces together. I mean, if you want to just have Spider-Man having a web line, you can just take either one of these and just, either have them displayed like this. Unfortunately, you can't connect these. So if you really wanted to have a true spider umbrella, you just can't pull that off. And Spider-Man also has kind of like a web tree. Again, it's really supposed to attach with other things, but the plastic I just wish were all the same color. The last thing, actually, and this is kind of interesting, he comes also with like web handcuffs. I'm going to just do it with Spider-Man for right now, although it doesn't make any sense with Spider-Man. This is supposed to fit on top of his hands. It doesn't seem to be, like, it doesn't look like it fits on both hands, obviously. It's only going to go on the one hand. And the actual handcuffs, they're not close enough together. I'm struggling so much doing this while I'm talking away. Take the one hand. Let's, you know what, we'll put it this, there we go. No, almost. You can see what I mean. There's some difficulty getting, it's only really one peg right there. You clamp the hand onto it. There you go. Whew. That's more work than what was really required. And you got Spider-Man with the kind of, it looks strange on him, yes, but I'm just using it for him for the time being. Sort of has these web handcuffs. So those are kind of fun as well. Then, of course, we can move on over. Let's just slide everything out of the way here. Included with this set, you also do get yourself 2 drones. 2 identical drones, by the way. They may not appear to be elaborate, but you may spend a fair bit of time just putting these together. I don't know if these are specifically rocket launching things on the top, or they're supposed to be lights. He certainly does have, both of them actually have these little Gatling guns down below, and there's also flick firing missiles, one on either side. You just put one in, and then when you press the button, it fires that across the room, or in this case, onto the floor. Sticker application was required. I had to put stickers right here on the top where its sort of scope eye was, and then also on the back. I didn't put this sticker on. I know. You don't have to be nice. I didn't put that sticker on very well. This one, I think I rectified things a little bit better. And like I said, you get 2 of these. So let's put those to the side. We'll move Doc Ock out of the way just for the time being. And let's get a closer look at Spider-Man's very impressive looking monster truck. As I've already stated, this takes up the majority of the build, and what you do get as a result of it is a pretty interesting and imposing vehicle that I don't think Spider-Man would ever really drive around the city. Not only the destruction that would ensue after the fact, but everybody would know that that's Spider-Man's vehicle. I feel like he's not really a showboater like this. Like I said, there was some rather substantial involved build for this. And what you do get is a really interesting looking monster truck that actually has its own built-in suspension. It's got very large tires. Each one of them have a hubcap that's stickered on there. This one wasn't applied the best way. And flipping around to the back, you can see on the other side, there's the hubcaps there as well. Very large, meaty rubber tires. There is a part, other stickers actually I should mention too as well. On the front, it says Spider #1. Sticker application along the front there by its hood. Sticker application there on the side of the vehicle. The same also on the other side here too. These were hard stickers to apply because you're applying them only to the bricks themselves, and then you're having to put them together. I almost feel it's a smarter bet to put the bricks together first and then line up the stickers, because of course that has to look like the web is carrying out from his name. There is also a top of it that has a sticker applied to. You can see there's Spider-Man right there. These never stay on very well. That just attaches to the top and it gives them obviously a roof. Let's go ahead and take our Spider-Man, who up to this point has had web handcuffs on his hands. Just take the top off, fold his legs, and we just fit his body inside here. Now, because you don't have as much area to get access to, it's a little harder to fit a minifigure down there. And then from there, you just go ahead and put the roof back on. Spider-Man's driving around the city in big monster truck tires. It's a little overboard if you ask me, but it still is a fun-looking car. I almost feel like they could use this same mold for another vehicle. I don't know, something maybe DC related, for example, like a big Joker monster truck. I think that would be fun, just using those same bricks. Like I said, tires roll really well, and because you've got the built-in suspension, it rocks back and forth. I think that's a nice touch as well. And there is also a web-firing net, and you'll see it right now sitting inside the chamber. What it is on the side here, there's a little lever, and this flips forward and flips back. As it flips forward, for obvious reasons, it brings this up to the top, and you've got yourself a little net. The idea, though, is the back plunger here. You're supposed to flick it, and it fires off the net. A lot of times, mileage may vary for how far the net will actually reach. Sometimes it goes a little bit farther than others. It just happened to be the case in this review that didn't go very far at all. Just roll that back up when you're finished, slide it back into the chamber, and you're ready to fire it again. It helps the further you push it back, because then the plunger has more opportunity to reach it. And again, you just bring this up and you flick this, firing off the net. See, it wasn't as successful this time. It is definitely a more elaborate set to get, and I think really the sell of the set is more so the minifigures, not necessarily the monster truck. It's not necessarily the problem that the monster truck isn't cool. I think, in fact, quite the contrary, it is a neat-looking vehicle. But when you really stack it against all the minifigures that you get for the set, and the fact as well that when you get to a Doc Ock like this, the elaborate design of his arms, I think, is the real sell of this, even though my favorite minifigure of this is the Mysterio, by far. I don't think we've ever really gotten a Mysterio, having not collected enough of these Lego sets in the past. If we certainly have, let me know down below in the comment section. But Mysterio was sort of the first thing that I honed in on. Oh, a set that has Mysterio? Nice. Then, of course, the more elaborate looking Doc Ock, that was pretty cool. And a Spider-Man and Spider-Gwen, not too bad at all. In fact, funny enough, the last thing I really focused in on was the fact he came with this big giant monster truck. The monster truck is a nice touch. It's a nice fun vehicle that I think kids would have a fun time playing around with. But for me, I don't think that that's something Spider-Man would drive around the city. And Spider-Man's trying not to be so out in the open. Well, he is, but to the point where he's driving around a big monster truck like that seems a little far-fetched, even for the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Have you picked up this set for yourself? Let me know certainly down below in the comments section, or even just based on this review and this review alone. Today we were having a look at set 76174, Spider-Man's Monster Truck versus Mysterio. I think the vehicle's a little excess, if you ask me. If you guys are new to this channel, enjoying all the content you're seeing, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below and turn on the bell notification. We will be having a look at some future Lego sets, even though that's not something we really cover a lot on this channel. But I can tell you, there's definitely going to be a lot more Lego sets coming your way. So keep your Lego peepers peeled, which, would they just look like squares? I guess they would. Definitely keep your peepers peeled, members of the mob, because there's definitely going to be a lot more videos coming your way. And as always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.